Oh, so nice and soft. Look at that. Look at that. Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Matt. I am your host, Matt Taylor. Today, I'm going to show you how to make no-knead cinnamon rolls. Oh yeah. For those of you who watch my show, you know I have a cinnamon roll recipe already that I made quite a while ago. And this particular recipe is based off of my no-knead dinner roll recipe. And this cinnamon roll recipe is so good, super delicious. They turn out super soft and pillowy and oh so yummy. And really easy to do, no kneading involved. If I can do it, you can do it. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my new videos. Let's get baking. Down below in the description box, you'll find a link to my website where you can print out this recipe. Also, I have the ingredients listed there as well. To start, I have 1 1/2 cups of water that I've heated up between 100 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. And then I'm going to take about a teaspoon of my sugar and put that in there. And then 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast, or you could use instant yeast if you want. And then with a fork, let's just agitate this a little bit. And so we are going to proof the yeast and make sure that it's good. Now I'm going to let this sit for 5 to 10 minutes until it gets nice and foamy. All right, and then after 5 to 10 minutes, your yeast should look something like this. Nice and foamy, got all puffy. Awesome. If it didn't get like this after that amount of time, I would start again with some other yeast, or maybe just double check your temperature of your water. Make sure it wasn't too hot or too cold. All right, I'm going to set this aside for a second. And I have 4 1/2 cups of flour here. I'm going to take my 1 1/2 teaspoons of salt and put that in there. And then with a whisk, just mix it in a little bit here. Okay. Set this back aside. Now in a large bowl, we'll go ahead and add in our yeast. You don't have to use all these bowls that I'm using. I'm just using those to showcase the ingredients. Normally I would just put the water in this big bowl and heat it up that way. And now we want to take our butter. This is 1/4 cup of butter, and melt it either on the stovetop or the microwave just until barely melted, 20, 30 seconds, somewhere around there. All right, and then we'll take our melted butter. Just make sure it's not too hot. You don't want to kill the yeast at all. Put that in there. We'll take our 2/3 cup of sugar. You could also reduce the sugar to just a 1/2 cup if you want. I like it a little bit more on the sweeter side, the actual dough itself. And then we want to whisk up our eggs here. And then just come in here with a whisk. All right. Come back over to our main bowl. Give it a good whisk. Add in the eggs. Give it a good whisk. And now we'll add in, about half of the flour. Whisk it together. And at this point, it's going to get too thick to use a whisk. So we'll switch over to our wooden spoon, and we will add in a little bit more, about half more of that flour that's left. Stir that in. And then the dough is going to start to come together. And then dump the rest of that flour in. Okay, and then our dough is going to be nice and tacky, and that's totally fine. That's what we want. All right, so I transfer the dough to this bigger bowl, and I sprayed the inside of the bowl with some kitchen spray so my dough doesn't stick to it. And then what we want to do is just cover it with a damp towel or cloth or plastic wrap, and then let it rise for 2.5 to 3 hours. we want the dough to at least double or triple in size. All right, a little bit different. When you knead the dough, you don't have to let it rise as long because we're not kneading, we're gonna let it rise longer. All right, 2.5 to 3 hours in a warm place, and I'll come back when it's risen. All right, the dough is just about done rising. I'm going to make the filling. I have about a cup of brown sugar here, and you can use normal granulated sugar too if you don't have brown sugar. And I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of cinnamon, the star of the dish. Oh yeah, you can't have cinnamon rolls without cinnamon. And let's just mix this together, okay? And you can do some other options in the fillings. You can add nuts like pecans, raisins, whatever else you want to add to this. And then 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla extract. All right, there we go. It's all nice and mixed together. Fantastic. And here is the dough. Look at it. I always love it when the dough rises. So cool. All right, now we want to take the dough out. Take some flour. Take the dough out. Nice, soft cinnamon roll dough. And then I'm just gonna let it get some of this flour. Add a little bit more. Nice and floured surface. And then we want to roll this out. And we don't want to roll it too thin, but we want to just roll it into a large rectangle. And then what we want to do is we want to take about 1/2 cup of softened butter. You may need more, you may use a little bit of less. And we're going to just baste this all on here liberally. The butter gives it lots of flavor. And we like flavor in our cinnamon rolls. And I'll use the rest of this. I have a little bit left over. I'll use that to baste on the top. And now we will come in here with our cinnamon sugar mixture. And we will put it on there. All right, like so. And at this point, if you want to add raisins or nuts, you can add that on top as well, or you could add those in the dough. Now we want to roll this up. And so what you'll do is you'll just take the edges and just go towards it like that. Crimp them down. Try to get them fairly tight. And now we want to cut this into our shapes. Now this is quite a bit of dough. This makes anywhere from 14 to 18 fairly large cinnamon rolls. And what we'll do is we want to cut this out. And you can use a knife. Sometimes the knife will damage it a little bit, like it pushes it down. So the trick that I learned a long time ago back in 8th grade cooking class was to use a piece of dental floss. And so you'll come in here with the piece of dental floss, you'll go underneath it, underneath the dough, and then you'll go across it like so and just pull. And then it makes a nice little cut without damaging the dough. All right. But again, you can just use your knife if you want. And then I have a large 13 by 17 inch baking pan, but if you don't have one this large, you can just use 2 smaller pans. And then you'll take your cinnamon roll and just place it right in there. And you don't want to crowd it too much because these are going to rise up more and then they're going to fill in the gaps. All right, and now what we do is we just cover it, and then we want to let this rise again for another hour to an hour and a half. And then they're gonna almost double in size. On to that step. All right, after the second rise, let me remove this plastic wrap and look at that. Amazing. And now we'll just come in here with some butter. And let's just go on the tops a little bit. And at this point also, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius. All right, and after your oven is preheated, then we are gonna bake this for 15 to 20 minutes until it's nice and golden brown on the top. On to that step. And when they come out of the oven, they'll look something like this, nice and golden brown on the top. And then we'll let them cool for 10 to 15 minutes. In the meantime, we can make our cream cheese frosting. To make the cream cheese frosting, we will start with 16 ounces of softened room temperature cream cheese. We'll come in here with a hand mixer. All right, we'll just mix it up a little bit. And then we'll take 1/2 cup of softened room temperature butter. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Nice. Now we want to start slowly adding our powdered sugar. Maybe do it about a cup at a time. This is 4 cups of powdered sugar, icing sugar, or confectioner sugar. And make sure to come in here and scrape down those sides. And then 1 more mix. And our frosting is ready to go. And now we can just come in here with our frosting. And you can frost the whole thing on the top if you like, or you can take them out individually first and frost them individually. Now I always have frosting left over and I can use it for other things, or you could just cut the frosting recipe in half and you'll get a thinner layer of frosting on top, if you like. All right, time to dig into one of these and show you what it looks like. Awesome. Oh, so nice and soft. Look at that. Look at that. Nice and soft it is. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, the no-knead cinnamon rolls are done. Turned out fantastic. If you love cinnamon rolls, give this recipe a try. One thing to note is I doubled the recipe for the frosting in the video. For most people, just half that recipe will do just fine. Down below in the description box, you'll find the list of the ingredients and their amounts. I'm Matt Taylor. This has been another episode of In the Kitchen with Matt. Thank you for joining me. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or requests, put them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thumbs up, down the corner, push it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Take care. Time for me to dive into this. Oh yeah.